Hi guys, Bob Collins for Diver Supply. You saw Christy bring her tank in. She wants to have it hydroed and vipped. And so what we're going to do is follow it through the system. We're going to be talking to Ryan Roberts. He's going to get it checked in. And then we're going to be talking to George. George is going to be doing the knockdown and the VIP on it. And then Dave Caldwell is going to be doing the hydro. So stick with us.
So typically when you look at a bunch of numbers that look like the rest of the numbers here, this is going to be the original hydro stamp. First, you're going to look for a symbol. The number beforehand is going to be the month. The number afterwards is going to be the year. So this is 04 of 2010. Here we have one that's stamped afterwards, 12 of 2014. And a reminder, these need to be done every 5 years. So at a certain point, this is going to be needed done before the end of the year. Then we look for the visual sticker, see if it's been inspected within the past year. If it's just being air, that's pretty much all we look for. If it's nitrox, we look and see if it was 100% O2 clean last time it was visual inspected. So every time you come into our shop to get a hydro inspection, we automatically do a visual inspection as well. Okay. That way we make sure it's all good to go.
So I'm here with Dave Caldwell. You met him out front. And what we're going to do is take a look at why and what happens when your tank is getting hydroed. So Dave, explain what happens here when somebody's tank comes in for a hydro.
Okay, so the first thing that happens when we get a tank in is we need to take the valve off and break the whole thing down. We'll look inside of it before we even bring it back into this ring. Now once we get it here, it goes into our tub where they just sit and they get filled with water. Once we have them filled with water, we're going to put a big fitting on them, attach them to our top cap, and they go in this jacket here. Once they're in the jacket gets filled with water as well as the tank. Once the tank and jacket are full, they get locked down, and we start testing them. Testing means that we're going to take most of your aluminum 80s, all of your aluminum tanks that are 3,000 pounds, and pressurize them with water instead of air to about 5,000 pounds of pressure. What we're doing is testing the integrity of the metal that we use for our tanks. Over time, after filling these tanks back and forth, they have so much expansion and decompression that we need to make sure that they are good to continue that lifetime for this tank. Now, once they come out and they have been tested and we know that they are good, they will be drained of water and then stamped. Once they get a stamp in them, we dry them. We do another visual test afterwards, and then they get filled.
That's our VIP test that we
Yes, that is our visual afterwards, correct.
Okay. So I see a big scale up here. What happens when you pressurize? What are you looking for as far, you're looking for movement and return of the metal, is that right?
Correct. I'm looking for basically permanent expansion of that metal. So what happens again, we'll take that tank and push it all the way up here to 5,000 pounds of pressure. Now once we've got it there, as long as this needle's not going anywhere, and we're going to take a reading off of our scale here just to see how much expansion that tank actually has.
So I'll get a shot of this, but this is actually a little cup of liquid water, and what it does, it shows the actual expansion and movement based on an amount of fluid.
Correct.
And this also shows the how much that weighs, and the amount of weight equals displaced by the water, that sort of thing. And then I see we've got some information that we fill out here.
Our wonderful testing data sheet that I get to fill out basically has on there our test pressure, the total amount of expansion that we have while the tank is under pressure at that 5,000 pounds, And then once we release that, we end up with a permanent expansion number, which is much less, of course.
So how often do we do this at the hydro?
We do hydros every Wednesday.
Okay. And how often does it have to be done on a tank?
We need to do a hydrostatic test every 5 years.
So that's based on Department of Transportation?
Correct.
Or what's
DOT
that?
regulates all of our tank testing.
Okay, all right. And is there a year tank that people out there need to be paying attention to when they're looking at buying used tanks?
When you're looking at used tanks, especially if you're looking at aluminum tanks, we need to watch out for anything that is pre-1990.
Pre-1990.
Exactly.
And why is that?
They had a bad batch of aluminum somewhere in the 80s, so they kind of blanketed, we're not really interested in using these tanks that are that old. And not to mention it is 2019, maybe we should start using something a little newer.
Yeah, okay. And so once we get done in here, you move the tanks out to the drying rack?
Correct. Tanks go from here after they are stamped to the drying rack, and then we do another visual test afterwards.
Okay, and that's again where you guys get your yearly VIP sticker put
Correct.
on. Okay, and what we're going to do is we'll take a look out there when the VIP is done, so you guys get an idea. And this is really important for everybody that owns scuba tanks to basically understand what's going on when you bring your tank in to be hydroed or VIP'd, Visual Inspection Program, and so that you guys know.
So the first thing you want to do is we take a light and we stick a light inside the tank, and we're looking inside the tank, and basically we're checking for any sediment, anything that could be wrong inside the tank, just visually inspecting it, making sure that the inside of the tank is good. After we've checked and make sure that inside the tank looks good, we want to take a light and a mirror, and we're going to look at the threads, and we're just going to make sure that we don't visually see any cracks or weak spots in the aluminum and in the threads. After that, we do the visual eddy inspection, which is a current, a probe, and it has a current that goes through it, and that checks to make sure that the threads don't have any micro cracks in them.
Here.
That is showing the threads and the multi-row linear right now it's set on so that you can see all the variations in the threads. And it'll let us know that, and it'll let us know how many micro cracks, it'll let us know how bad they are after we do that test. All right, so after I've checked and visually inspected it and used the eddy current, then I'm going to take the valve. We replace the O-ring, neck O-ring on the valve, and we put a new O-ring, seat O-ring for the face. Okay, and once we got those O-rings replaced, we replace the valve, and the tank's ready to be filled. The burst disc is basically a safety feature, and it will burst, just like it's called, and release the air safely from the tank so the tank doesn't become a projectile. Now that it's, this one just had a hydrostatic check, so we've done that, we've done the visual inspection, so now we stamp out the month, and this one was visually inspected. It was visually plus, which is the eddy current, and this one was not O2 clean. This is just a regular tank. Okay. There's additional procedures for that. Okay. We disassemble the valve, and we O2 clean the internals of the valve so that it can take 100% oxygen, and we O2 clean the tank as well so that we can fill it partial pressure. They're ready for one more year.
Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
So that's a look at what happens when you bring your tank in to have it hydroed or vipped. A lot of times people don't understand all the work that goes into keeping their tank clean and safe for their use while they're scuba diving. Now, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We're approaching 1,000 subscribers, and I want to thank all of our recent new subscribers. If you've got any comments, put them in the comment section. Really enjoy the questions and such. Got one the other day from a young man that said, hey, we really appreciate the videos. Us divers out here get a lot out of it. And I just want you to know, I appreciate the comments and I enjoy doing the videos. Again, my name's Bob Collins for Diver Supply. And as we always say here, dive safe. Thanks for watching.